And Drew Brees. I know you've seen that. What do you think about what Drew Brees said? And then his apology.
Man, I mean, ain't much to think, man. What the fuck was he thinking, man? He wasn't thinking when he said that. Or if he was thinking, I mean, he said the same thing in 2016, so he's just repeating the same thing he said. So maybe he did think about what he was saying, and I don't know. But it goes to show, man, a lot of people feel that way. And as many people out here marching and are against the issue, there are also a lot of people that are for that issue.
Yep.
They might not let it be known because they don't want to get canceled or lose their job, but they for that issue. So we can't never get it twisted how inspiring it was to see 70,000, 80,000, however many it was when we was all marching in Houston. But Houston got 5-6 million people. How many million people got? And it was 80,000 marching. Now, first of all, I know all them people marching wasn't marching for the cause. A lot of them was only marching being nosy or because they don't want to get canceled. So, hey, let me let everybody know I'm out here so that I don't get canceled. And it wasn't for the cause. But either way, they were there. That still was only 70,000, 80,000 people. What about the other 4.whatever million, however million people? Say, I mean, what's the population in Houston, Texas? Because where was they at? And, everybody at home don't mean that they are for or against the issue. You know what I'm saying? But it's just something we got to be aware of is that this is very deep rooted. And as people find excuses and as commentators give their perspective, you'll see people lean on that and say, oh, yeah. That's how the victim blaming go. That's how the fear for his life type of stuff go. They lean on these type of things. It was the rioting. Now it's, the rioting's bad. They lean on that as their excuse to sprinkle in their coded racism and hatred in the way it is. And then they lean on other things. And before you know it, it's back to where we was, and ain't shit happened. So it's very strategic how the oppression has maintained. I don't know, man. It's very, man, strategic how the oppression has maintained. Because it's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like it's just a block of clay sitting somewhere. No, it's some of the most powerful people in the world with the most means of anyone in the world, and with a system that benefits them to the utmost.
Yes, sir.
And they don't want to see it go away. And we don't realize that. We think it's just, it's deeper than just what we see who's right in front of our face. The other thing, too, the way they do it, which is strategic how they do that. You see at the marches, I'm there, I see firsthand. A lot of the people they put in front and center are the community officers who really are in the community. Not always, because I've seen some bullies that are terrorists on the front lines dressed in uniform as well. But I'm saying a lot of times they'll be strategic in who they put on the front line, where you'll see an officer who's really from the community, cares about the community, and really does want to make a change. They'll put that person on the front line to take all the heat, cussing everybody, yelling at them, all of that to tear them down. And it's very strategic. And they'll also do that in terms of race. It's very strategic. Who and where they put who and where, and all of a sudden it's a tank right there, and all of a sudden it's a helicopter right there, and these things is the force that is shown is meant to suppress, and it's all strategic. So, man, Drew Brees is just I think he like most people are being forced due to the trend, are being forced to take the side. It's so crazy. It's just mind blowing to me how many people in the past week I see saying, "Hey, we as a company feel the Black Lives Matter and this and that." And
I know. Crazy.
A couple of years they were completely opposite, and it's just due to the culture, due to the Me Too culture of racism. This kind of to the forefront where they, as corporations, have to say publicly, but then you look into their economics, you see who they donating to, and you see it's all hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying? When they making these statements, and it's strategic how they make these statements. Watch who they start giving to. That's gonna be strategic too, because they're gonna start giving, and watch who they start giving to. It's gonna be strategic too. And it's just, hey, it's a system that doesn't want fairness and equality. It's a system that's leaning on that. And that, if there is fairness and equality, it's leaning on inequality. If there is fairness and equality, the system will collapse or it'll topsy the other way. And they don't want that. They're willing to give everything to let it go. So, I've seen that firsthand of people who they don't realize that it's even bigger than them. They think it's just me. It's bigger than what you think or what you see. And it's a selfish perspective of when I see people say, "Oh, well, I'm not like that, so the world ain't like that." Don't you know you only one person in this world? And how the world treats you ain't the same way as the world treats the next person. And how you treat me ain't the same way. How that person, what I'm saying? It's just, it's crazy. Drew Brees is tripping. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of people out there that's tripping. And, for sure, they all need to be called out on it. I feel like, what I'm saying? It's a lot of hypocrisy.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people putting keys in other people's back, twisting them up. I wouldn't be surprised if Drew Brees started getting them calls from people where, to empower him, saying, "Hey, don't listen to them haters, man. We're gonna give you a sponsorship deal. You're getting this type of money from this company. We appreciate what you said about standing up for the patriotism of the flag. We appreciate that." And that will embolden him. See, because just as much as there's hate out there, there's love for what he said. And it's who he gonna listen to. Now he gonna make the public statement, but where is his heart? Where is his heart at in this? And I know, he was born in Austin, Texas. You know what I'm saying? He's plays for the New Orleans Saints. Man, come on, we know it's going down. It's all over the country. We know it's there for sure. It's all, and we know with the NFL historically, they might be trying to make change now, whatever. That's commendable, but we know where they've stood historically on issues and where they cut their mouth shut and other things. But to me, this is something that I just really don't understand. The patriotism or lack thereof, because the people I see getting killed, most of them, other than Botham Jean maybe, and I think he even was an American citizen, most of them are all American citizens. Mm-hmm. So this is straight up terrorism. When 9/11 happened, it was a call to arms for all patriots. We got to defend. We got to defend. Now, I'm not a general who put strategies together, but I was told Afghanistan and Bin Laden was the one.
New word.
Who were the ones who flew the planes into 9/11? But we continued the war with Iraq, Saddam Hussein. We got Saddam Hussein. Then there was war going on in Afghanistan all through there too as well. But I'm saying it. Hey, we see where's the patriotism? We need the patriotism now. These are American people. Let me just say this way. If these are American people right now, these black men we see getting killed, and women as well, and some of them being either service members or first responders like Breonna Taylor, these are American citizens. If they right now would be getting killed in the street by ISIS members, all the patriots would be standing up. All the patriots would be standing up. Since it's by authority, it's whitewashed to the sense where it's excused. Well, they probably did something wrong. Well, they were probably in the right. Well, they probably had reason. Well, what happened before this? Well, what they have in a system when this happened, or what is their criminal record when this happened? It's all meant to excuse what's going on. But I mean, to me, it's terrorism. It's straight terrorism. Now, it's good cops, bad apple. I'm not speaking on none of that to debate none of that. All I'm hearing to say is that it's a commonality. And one thing I see this clear as day. You see statistics where people will say, because I see that, and now to me, it's important to me to hear the other side, or to hear or talk to other people. Although I might not agree or want to hear, it's important for me to hear it so that I can know how to combat it with facts. So people will say, "Hey, well, what about all the white people killed by police?" well, I saw a statistic that more white people get killed by police than any other race. But one thing I can tell you that is a fact. Show me one instance where one white person ever was killed by the police because they were white. I've never seen that ever once as an instance. That right there is the difference right there. You've never seen that. And whether someone get killed by the police or whatever not, and we've all seen these type of videos where it'll be a white person handling the police, and then or whatever, or we seen a white person shoot up a church, then get taken to Burger King before they go to jail. You know, we've seen this is what that is just is this. That's where the inequality lies as well. Like even within the law, where even if you just a patriot or whatever, you abiding by you going by the letter. What's going on with that? All right, but the lack of patriotism that I'm not seeing, but now you're starting to see so-called patriots who will want to stand up for the shop owners, the recruiters.
Yeah.
But stand up for them people that's getting killed by the police. Stand up for the 2 college students in Atlanta who got drug out their car for driving. And the white people in front of them got let on, go home, have a safe night. And it's been going on. And, you know, we look to different TV shows or songs. Sometimes we can point to that, like, you know, the Fresh Prince episode where Jazz on the stand, he said, no, I'm not putting my hand down. You're going to put 6 shots in my back. Or where Carlton out there getting into it with the frat boy because he's spray painting on his car. Or we go to, you know, different songs of, you know, NWA, Fuck the Police. So just very different things. Ghetto Boys, Crooked Officer. Those sometimes they pinpoint and timestamp a nostalgic point in time where when this song came out, what was going on. And we can go through the history of television shows, songs from Marvin Gaye, what's going on. And you can see that this has been going on historically been going on. So that's why I'm like, the patriotism aspect to me is where I don't get it. My family, my grandfather, same grandfather I'm telling you about, he was a lieutenant colonel in the military. He was in the Army before there's the Air Force. Back then, the Army was the Air Force. They had their own Air Force division, but it wasn't a separate branch. My grandfather was a lieutenant colonel in that. And he fought in the World War II. He fought in the Korean War. Man, that's a patriot right there. You know, I'm wondering, I've always, being in Texas, I've always had a lot of friends who went off to the military. Also, being Fort Hood is right around the corner. My mama was born in Fort Bliss in El Paso. You know, Fort Hood and Killeen, that was somewhere where me and Camino used to go all the time. So, you know, the military always supported us. The different branches, there's a PX in Virginia that sold our music. There was a PX in Alaska that sold our music, and one in San Diego. And they really helped us push our music when we independent coming up. So me also doing concerts with the USO. I've done several concerts, several tours, like at least 7, maybe 8 tours where I went to Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan, you know, throughout Africa, the Middle East, just to do tours to show appreciation for the soldiers that just unpaid. Well, I ain't get paid $1 too. I'm not getting paid. And I'm going out there performing because that's a huge honor, for real, humbling experience. Huge honor. I take a lot of pride in knowing that I have family members who fought for this country. Even knowing that I have family members that fought in the Revolutionary War in my bloodline who fought in this. It's a fact. You can look it up where I can show that they fought in the Revolutionary War against England and fought for this country. So, you know, patriotism is something that was taught to me, but it was never once ever allocated by race. Patriotism was never, freedom and justice for all as long as you over this tall. It was never, it's only for people within this weight class. It's never for how you sound or your accent. No, it's liberty and justice for all. Freedom, equality. Race has nothing. That's how I was taught. So my question is this. I need a lawyer that can help me sue the state of Texas, University of Houston, Cy-Fair Independent School District, anybody else who taught me that our country was equal and that everybody had equal and it was freedom, because they've been lying to me my whole life. I need all my tuition back and I need all my grades adjusted and amended, because we all been lied to. If it ain't equal, because they telling us it's equal, but this clearly is not equal. The treatment is clear as day, not equal. And since we got phones everywhere, is front and center in front of our face, where it ain't no denying it, ain't no hiding it. And you see, I mean, how many people have us, the three of us right now? How many people have we watched die on Instagram? Or
too many. Too many. It's disgusting.
Too many.
It's crazy, man. If we didn't have cameras, we'd see a picture of it in the newspaper. Since we got the camera, we can hear it. We can hear the cries. We can see the people around. We can see multi-views. We can see the reaction of a Chauvin putting his knee in his back, his facial expressions. We can see the facial expressions of other officers. We can see it, so it's front and center, and it can't be hid from. But you can see the other side trying to get their strategy together or their excuses together and all that. But man, I know I answered a 30-minute answer to Drew Brees, but man, what about Drew Brees? I think Drew Brees is tripping, man. You tripping, man.
Hey, man, we appreciate it. We appreciate your passion, man. We appreciate the authenticity given the times we're in, man. Paul Wall, Houston Texans Zone, was in the building, the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. Hey, man, we know you didn't hear of us prior to the podcast. We hope during this hour build, we got a fan in you. You definitely got two fans in us, man. Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, for real.